Good morning, good evening. Don't know where you are, but you are right here, right now. Thank you for joining me. This is kind of a precursor for tomorrow's talk by Alex Jack. I want to tell you just a little bit about this man that's coming on our Eco Inspired Living show called Eco Inspired Green Home. I want to tell you a little bit because I've got beside me probably I don't know, just maybe 10 books. But he's written and he's a prolific writer. But I wanted to share with you how lucky I've been to have entertained the years with Alex. And this is a tribute to him. This is a tribute to Alex Jack. Because Alex, I love you. We've come a long way. We've walked a long way. And I've been wanting to celebrate you for a long time because you're somebody that is one of the most humble people that I've ever met and one of the most prolific writers and one of the most spiritually gifted intellects that I've ever met. When we look at our lives and we move into action, you know, one of our Earth Day ideas was actions of impact. I have never seen somebody so action-oriented other than Michio Kushi, but Alex was even more so when you look at what he's accomplished in the physical world. So we're going to go through a few opportunities for you to learn who Alex Jack was, because today is the weekend of the solstice. You know, the solstice brings a new light, a new essence, a new energy. When we start looking at the gifts of our lives, the gifts of what comes to us or how it comes. I met Alex Jack in Beckett, Massachusetts. I went there in my early years. I met Michio Kushi in 1987. And I didn't meet Alex till a few years later, but I probably met him in the domain of where I was for those years. But I didn't really get to know him till around 1990, maybe 91, 92. And I worked for Alex for the organization called One Peaceful World. Now, Alex was the editor of East West Journal, and there's many people that know a lot more about Alex than I do. But this is just my sharing and tribute to him because he's a wonderful spirit and a wonderful, amazing person, human being. He runs the organization Planetary Health, and he did run the organization Amazing Grains, and still may be dabbling in that. I'm not sure. We'll hear more tomorrow. But prior to that, he wrote the One Peaceful World magazine, and I did marketing for them. And I got to be very close to him because I actually cleaned his house, he and Gail Jack's house, in my early years in Beckett. I was a mom, but we needed extra money when we moved there. So I went out and cleaned their house a few days in a row. And I'd come in and I'd been reading his books and I had been developing a relationship with Alex, just, you know, like so many different layers. I don't want to get into my story. I want to get into my story with Alex. But Alex was always welcoming, and his smile wherever you greet him is one of the most humble smiles I've ever met. His father, Homer Jack, worked for the UN, and for peace, for world peace. And we can hear maybe a couple of stories tomorrow morning. He's going to talk about the pandemic. He's going to talk about the pandemic that's happened, COVID, but he's going to talk. I can only tell you, please do not miss. It's going to be 9 a.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Pakistan time. But Alex is one of the greatest heartfelt people. So as this tribute to Alex Jack, I want to share with you, there was an amazing journey with him. He knew that I was completely part of Michio and Aveline's life. Out of anyone at the Kushi Institute, he realized that my connection to Michio was rich, and he honored that relationship. He honored it in a deep way. But he used to send me these books, and my cupboards to this day are filled, and I owe a tremendous amount to him. And as I move forward, one of the funny stories, I went to Japan. I got my trip paid for. He wanted to send 3 cartons, 3 big boxes of books to Japan to celebrate George Osawa's 100th birthday. George Osawa was the founder of macrobiotics in Japan. He ran an organization called Nippon CI, Center Ignoramus. And as I start going through some of the works, I want you to realize how powerful one man can be with writing. So one of my first books was One Peaceful World, and it touched me so deeply. But the stories of the books go like this. I had my whole trip paid for to go to Japan. I had the ability, hello Anishwar, I had the ability to go to Japan. I had the ability to go and be part of the tour. I had been telling my husband, I'm going to Japan this year. He said, we don't have money for you to go to Japan. I had 4 children. And I said, I know, but I'm going to Japan this year. And sure enough, 10 days before the tour left, I was able to go to Japan on a free ride by Nippon CI, the Center Ignoramus. Now, I packed up my books, I packed up my suitcase, I got some really nice new things to wear. I was in really good shape because I was a young woman, vibrant, eating macrobiotics for 10 years by then. And packed up my car and went to New York to fly out. And I went to see my friend. And these 3 big boxes of books for One Peaceful World were coming with me, right? And I ran in to see my friend. He ran a huge center in the city. He still does. Joshua Rosenthal. Some of you know him. And he runs the IIT, Institute of Integrated Medicine in New York City. He's, again, a student of Michio and Aveline Kushi. So I ran in because I was going to stay with him that night. And when I came back out, my car had got broken into. And all the books were gone. Somebody stole 3 boxes of One Peaceful World books in New York City. And what Alex said to me, he said, well, I guess they needed the books more than myself. I guess they needed the books. Hello, Tafsir. So this idea that Alex brought forward, the books were gone. I went to Japan. Amazing, amazing time. I got to stay at Nippon CI, the Center of Ignoramus. But Alex is somebody that you've got to get to know because he's tremendously one of the most humble people. So if 3 boxes of your books that you wanted to go to Japan went, would you have gotten upset? All he said to me, he said, I guess One Peaceful World books, macrobiotic books needed to go to New York instead of Japan. You know, something like this. I was just like, wow. So hello, Percy. I'm doing a tribute to my good friend Alex Jack. He's one of the greatest prolific writers that I know in natural food movement. His organization, the East West Journal, the editor of the magazine, the early years in the 60s when everybody was engaging in, you know, this idea of the natural food movement and how it started in America. Alex was at the forefront of it as an editor, and he's going to be speaking tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And I wanted to give a tribute. I've been wanting to do this for a long time because I believe this person needs a lot of love. I believe this person needs recognition from humanity. And sometimes I think I didn't do this enough before Michio Kushi died. But he was the closest to Michio than everyone. And Michio had a deep respect for Alex, and Alex had a deep respect. They were true kindred souls. And when the torch was named, it was a month after Michio died. I called Alex and I said, I had a dream. And I said, I'm pretty sure it's from Michio. And Michio always said we had to go spark the universe. We had to go spark Japan. We had to go spark UA. I have to go spark the people over here. I have to go spark the people over here to Philippines. I mean, he went to many, many countries, many places to spark the world to one peaceful world. His dream of one peaceful world, his honoring of saying you can dream bigger than you can accomplish in one life. This wonderful experience to me gave the understanding of such grace and such wonder. But when I look at working with Alex in these early years of living in Beckett near Michio, he wanted to give a building to me and run a center there. I've been given many buildings in this lifetime. I've never accomplished one building as far as like, you know, this building needed too much work. My father said, no, you're not going to take it. But it was the old Stagecoach in Beckett, if some of you are listening that know. And the Stagecoach building, I went back to just a few years ago. I went to Beckett and I visited Beckett. And, you know, it was quite amazing because I stopped by that property, and that property was a very deep spiritual home to the Native American people. And there were old caverns in this property. And the Stagecoach was a place where you could go up into the tower, from what I heard, or up to their building, up to their porches, and you can look around, and there were 4 states. You could look at, you know, the 4 states. This was Massachusetts, but you could look at the 4 states, Connecticut, New York, Massachusetts, and what would be the another one? I should know, but I'm not going to go there. But so the Stagecoach building was really dear to me, and we ended up moving onto a golf course. My husband was a golf pro, and I manifested his dream instead of what the dream Michio and I, you know, this one peaceful world dream, this one peaceful world idea was what I came to Alex that day and said, the torch had to have come from Michio. And Alex said, for sure, he always said this for all the years I knew him, let's spark the world for peace. And today marks a memory of Haji Khan Farroch from Pakistan making the first flag for the torch. And it says sparking the world for peace. So it's an auspicious day to have Alex come tomorrow. It's auspicious because we're at the crossroads, the cross-quarter days, you would say, in some of the old countries, because it's the solstice. It's the time of the crossway. It's the time when the veil opens. I was on with Mayan elders earlier, and we were chatting, and we went deep with a couple of situations, and we'll have a celebration tomorrow, and I'll meet with my good friend, my Mayan elder, Jose, on Sunday, and I cannot wait for the solstice to celebrate with him, to be with the fire. But as I start sharing some of the stories, working with Alex, going into his house and being a cleaner in his house. I was only in my early 30s. Um, I needed that extra money, so he and his wife hired me, and I got to prepare some meal type ideas and clean their kitchen. And he was so prolific. You could just see the stacks of books in his house and the stacks of all the different research. He's one of the most researched people that I've ever met. He knows so much about health and environment than anyone that I've seen in his writings and his teachings. So let's start. The One Peaceful World book I didn't locate. My house, just so you know what I'm living in this weekend. This week I tore apart my house because I graduated on May 22nd. My daughter graduated this last week and she went away for 10 days. So I've been clearing, I'm clearing out. And so I made this beautiful desk area. Maybe I can show you my desk area. It's right over there. So it's all nice and orderly. And hopefully by the end of this weekend, I'll be sitting at my desk and have my things organized in such a powerful way that I'm very excited. And I opened up a fan in honor of just, it's just exciting. So for the solstice weekend, I'll be staying up late. I'm going to stay up late tonight to clean, to clear, to keep going. And my daughter will be home on Sunday, from her deep 10-day away. She graduated and then left. The same day she graduated, she left with her friends. So it'll be fun to have her homecoming. But this is one of the first cookbooks I got. Macrobiotic Cooking, Aveline Kushie's Guide. So Aveline Kushie with Alex Jack for health, harmony, and peace. So this book, if you could see it in such a rich way, he writes about different stories with Aveline. He would sit with her and write books. And look at, this is not a light book. This is a very thick book. But let's read something out of this. Macrobiotics does not require any change in your religion, way of thinking, or personal lifestyle. It requires only that you eat in harmony with your environment. By eating well, you will create order and balance in your life, in your daily life. Your peaceful spirit will extend to your family and community and eventually influence the whole world. Once you have experienced the true energy of food and learned how to control your health, behavior, and thoughts through cooking, you can never return to old, unconscious, and sensorial ways of eating. After preparing balanced, whole food meals, your physical condition will improve. Your thinking will become clear and focused. Your vision of the future will grow bright and cheerful. Careful cooking is key to maintaining harmony with the surrounding natural world. So, health, harmony, and peace. He writes amazing stories throughout the book. He's written all the stories and all the cooking. I mean, this is Alex's work. He diligently stayed by Aveline's side and published this book with her. And I just want to share with you, look at this beautiful little picture. A baby cries. Everyone is busy harvesting grain. The dog alone keeps watch. And Aveline made these beautiful drawings and Alex put it into this book. And they were little haiku writings from Japan. This book is so precious. When you cook out of this book, things happen and your life happens and you are shaped always to return to such a powerful place. Here's another haiku by Aveline Kushie. Sunshine bathes the field amid the rice stalks, a grasshopper's shadow. Beautiful, right? So Aveline came from the place of the rice princess. There were stories that I got to hear. This particular town that Aveline lived in, It was really powerful, and her autobiography is another amazing book. But she started and founded the Natural Food Store with Michio, and I honor all the deep feminine because she brought the feminine consciousness back to a natural consciousness. But Alex was there beside her to do this work. And I'm amazingly honored by her work. East meets West. This is the chapter 1. So we're going to read a little bit about how East meets West. Once upon a time, Susanoo no Mikoto, brother of the goddess of the sun, came down to earth from heaven to walk along the river Hi at Torikami in the southwestern province of Izumo. Coming upon some chopsticks floating in the stream, he realized that someone was in the mountains and went to investigate. At the headwaters of the river, the young god came upon an old couple and their beautiful daughter huddled together in tears. "Why are you weeping?" Susanoo no Mikoto asked. The terror-stricken old man and old women told him that a ferocious dragon with 8 heads lived at the top of the mountain. Each year the serpent came down to eat one more of their daughters. Now only young Kushi-Inada Hime remained, and as it was the harvest time, the dragon was sure to come again. Susanoo Mikoto pondered a while and offered to slay the dragon in exchange for the young woman's hand in marriage. The parents assented. The god then instructed them to build an enclosure, set out 8 barrels, fill them with strong sake, and have Kushi-Inada Hime mount a platform above the barrels. In due course, the dread serpent came down the mountain to devour his lovely victim. Drawing near the 8 vats, the dragon saw the reflection of the daughter in the sake, and with its 8 tongues started to sip the intoxicating brew. Soon the creature fell asleep, and Susanoo Mikoto came out of his hiding and cut off the 8 heads. Inside the dragon's tail, he found a magical sword, which he presented to his sister Amaterasu, the goddess of the sun. The god married Kushi-Inada Hime, whose name meant wondrous princess of the rice fields. Susanoo no Mikoto was himself an agricultural deity, and earlier had helped originate rice seeds, millet, barley, aduki beans, soybeans, and silkworms. The magical sword, emblem of the union of this sky god and earth maiden, was later presented to the emperor and became one of the 3 treasures of Japan. It has been handed down along with the sacred mirror and the sacred necklace from one generation to the next. So this is how Alex writes. I'm sharing a story of his writing. But this was a beautiful rendition when I first got this book and learned about these early stories of Japan and where Michio and Aveline came from. This book, the Book of Macrobiotics, The Universal Way of Health, Happiness, and Peace, is also a prolific book. Can you see? This is all of Michio's writings. And Alex stood by their side and wrote these books and prolifically helped move the whole world into a natural food movement by these books, opening each of us to an amazing understanding. It says the Book of Macrobiotics is the passport to a new world of infinite understanding and adventure. It has been read and reread and studied and treasured by hundreds of thousands of people seeking a clear, comprehensive approach to the problem of living in a world of endless change. Now, after nearly a decade, the book of Macrobiotics has been completely revised and expanded to reflect refinements in Michio Kushi's teachings, as well as many developments in the spread of macrobiotics in modern society. During this time, the standard macrobiotic diet approach has been simplified and broadened. Macrobiotic approaches to cancer, heart disease, and other degenerative diseases have evolved and expanded, as have many home cares and the way of life recommendations. So let's read a little bit out of this book. And my new coin, many of you know, but I've been working for 32 years in macrobiotics. My friends have worked 50 years plus. The Beatles were very much part of Michio and Aveline's life. The stories have been tremendously fun to be around, exciting. Gloria Swenson, John Denver. So many amazing people hung out with these friends. And the early years are magic. And I'm grateful to spend the 32 years with Alex Jack because he's touched me, he's brought me and grown me up. He's probably 15 years my senior, but I love him as a dear brother. And Alex, you're one of the people that have held me and committed to me as a human being. And no matter what I did to call, you answered. And I'll tell you a little personal story because these are the early stories. I went through a horrible divorce. And this is another Alex Jack moment. And I called him and I said, I don't know. I said, it's so hard. And he said, this is your spiritual training now. He said, just enjoy what you're learning. That's it. That's simple. He took what he learned from Michio and Aveline, but he lived it. And he does live it. So tomorrow you have to come on and honor this beautiful brother of mine, Alex Jack. So we're going to read a story out of the book of Macrobiotics, another book, The Way of Health, Happiness, and Peace, the universal way. He picked out, I'm sure, some of the stories. Let's see what we're going to do. Regeneration. Should we read regeneration? I can't see the thumbs up because this is StreamYard. This is the introduction, the regeneration of modern humanity. Unknown time has elapsed since our galaxy was formed by the whirlpool motion in the infinite ocean of space. As the Earth developed to its present condition, more than 4 billion years have passed. Biological life has existed on this planet for more than 3 billion years, and human beings have developed physically and spiritually for probably over 20 million years. Although it is uncertain how the ancestors of our present human species lived and adapted to their environment, during our recent development of Homo sapiens, especially within the span of recorded history, we have seen the rise and fall of more than 20 civilizations. During these constant vicissitudes, humanity has experienced health and sickness, stability and chaos, peace and war, prosperity and poverty, happiness and unhappiness, as if we have been riding upon waves. Over our present world civilization in this modern age are not exempt from these fluctuations. This is Alex Jack's writing, right? Did you hear that? That's just such a beautiful sentence, okay? You know, if we have been riding, it's as if we have been riding the waves, and we're still riding the waves, aren't we? Let's see here. Let's see. Oh my gosh, this is so dear to me. This book has been with me for 32 years, at least. But Alex probably gave me this book because he gave me book after book after book out of the kindness of his heart. And he has never signed a book, but I have to get him to sign one of my books. This book talks about many different areas of life. But basically, the understanding of the unifying principle that I teach, and I've been teaching, and I taught it before I met Alex and Michio. I taught it of understanding of, as a young girl, I knew there was happiness and sadness. There was clouds, raining, and sunny. I was writing songs at 10, and many children are spiritually awake. And there was a wonderful teacher on tonight to say how much we need to honor the children, how much we need to honor the upcoming gifts of our world. So if you start looking at the dedication, this book is dedicated to humanity's everlasting dream, past, present, and future, of realizing health, happiness, and peace. This book is dedicated to those known and unknown who have devoted their lives to inspiring the human family, ancient and modern, Eastern and Western, Northern and Southern. I mean, you just start looking at the quality of this consciousness. And as many of us know, there are pictures on here of the standing stones and stories of, the standing stones and the pyramids and the ziggurats and other ancient structures that appear, and they have been a collection and generate natural electromagnetic energy. There were so many stories that I would sit in the office, and I would sit in the One Peaceful World office, and I would want to stay, but I had to do my work from home. Alex was very busy, but I would come into the office and I'd work for maybe an hour or so at the desk, and then I would go on my way because I knew he was working. And this newsletter every month would come, and I sure hope I have some copies in one of my files, which I'm pretty sure I do. I have 2 files of my teachings and 2 big files of what I taught for years. And I mean, I've been teaching and developing, but it really comes out of this beautiful rendition of One Peaceful World idea and management. Next book. What are we going to bring out next? I love this book. This is a visit to the land of the gods, searching for the modern philosopher's stone, tracing Jesus's lost years in the East, exploring the common roots of the Jews and the Japanese. Alex Jack. Oh gosh, I'm gonna get teary-eyed because this was such a beautiful book, and I haven't read it, I haven't picked it up, I haven't seen it in a long time. Thank you, Alex Jack. So let's listen to his words. This spring, I had a supreme good fortune to visit Japan and attend the World Macrobiotic Conference in Nachi Katsura in Lima Oshawa's 100th birthday celebration in Tokyo. I apologize. It was Lima's 100th birthday. I set off with a personal quest to visit the legendary tombs of Jesus and Moses, and 2 associates, Cecil Levin, director of the East-West Center in Los Angeles, and a longtime macrobiotic teacher and counselor, and Tatsuto Oshika, a graduate of Shinto Academy and the Kushi Institute. I personalized this journey April 19th through May 8th. Part 2 describes attending the spiritual development training at the Kushi Institute in Beckett. These sessions were parts 9 and 10, taught by the educator Michio Kushi. Took place just over a month later, from June 15th to June 20th, and constituted an interior voyage whose themes complemented my visit to Japan. In weaving together the 2 odysseys, one in Japan and the other in America, I hope to offer some reflections on modern macrobiotics, the way of health, happiness, and peace developed in this century by George and Lima Osawa, Michio and Evelyn Kushi, and their associates, as well as the insights on the meeting of East and West, especially relevant as we enter the new millennium. Many of the comments and observations address religious and spiritual subjects, especially the relationship between Judaism, Christianity, and Shinto faith, of ancient Japan. In the course of my journey, my ancestral roots grew deeper. Needless to say, the opinions I express are my own and not those of Macrobiotic Community, Michio and Evelyn Kushi, the Kushi Institute, or One Peaceful World. While remaining non-denominational, Macrobiotics embraces all traditional religions, philosophies, and way of life. And all traditional religions, philosophies, and way of life, and many Macrobiotics friends are practicing Muslims, Catholics, Jews, Buddhism, and so on. In completing this volume, I am grateful to Michio and Aveline for their continual inspiration and encouragement, and for their help in setting up my trip. I am thankful to Japanese Association hosts, including Mr. and Mrs. Junji Oba. Ginseng. Oh gosh. So many people helped me, and many people that I'll start reading, I might come down with tears because I was on this trip. And I'm pretty positive that many of these stories will be, as I open this book, I know it's my bedtime reading for the next few nights, because it'll bring me to the moments of powerful stories and documents of understanding a powerful idea. Let's go to the teachings of Jesus, Lost Years in the East. Following the Lima celebration, Nippon CI hosts a tour of the Mount Fuji area. The CI Center Ignoramus symbolizes humanity's lack of knowledge in the face of the infinite universe. Was founded by George Osawa and carried on by Lima over the last 3 decades. I joined this 20 international macrobiotic teachers and friends in a 2.5-day visit to the scenic Mount Fuji area, about 2 hours ride by charter bus west of Tokyo. In keeping with George's adventurous spirit, the first day of the tour included an arduous climb to the mountain shrine, complete with rope handles to assist in every step ascent, Spartan dormitory accommodations, and a strongly seasoned, home-cooked meal featuring deep-fried seitan and bottles of vintage French wine, George's favorite. The central Senjin shrine in the ceremony, reminiscent of communion, the priests disperse sake to us in small cups as we file out. Sacred to the cherry blossom goddess, the patron deity of Mount Fuji. The main temple rises 2 stories high. While the symbolism of this unique feature is being explained to us, Shinto shrines are generally only 1 story high. My eyes focus on the projecting joists at the top, which look like crossed swords. You know, the buildings with these crossed swords. Ever since Chris Akbar is a good friend of ours. She passed away. She had cancer. She was a physicist, or was she a, oh my gosh, that's embarrassing. Chris was an amazing friend of mine. She had cancer, and Michio supported her, and she went on to be his right-hand person for many years. Love you, Chris Akbar. Her lecture on alchemy and transmutation at the first World Macrobiotic Conference. I have been thinking about practical way to harness yin and yang energies directly from the cosmos. Chris drew 2 inverted triangles on the blackboard, like a big letter X, the vertical lines on the top and the bottom, explaining that heaven and earth's force intersected at the central point, where the triangles and earth's forces intersected at the central point where the triangles met. She speculated that in the future, some device similar to the coiled spirals of a bed spring might be developed to harness this virtually limitless source of energy for computers and cars and household heating and other aspects of daily life. Gazing at the imposing shrine, I realized that the prominent X's at the end of the roof are antennas for collecting the key energy. So ki is the same as chi in Japanese. So if you don't know chi energy or ki energy, it's the energy that flows through us naturally. My business name was Kiraku, named by a Japanese friend for many years. Kiraku, he visited our home in Beckett and was able to, this house had many people with cancer, many homeless, many, one man was a drug addict, so many people that came and lived with me in Beckett. He said, the natural electric magnetic energy, and this helps explain why we all feel so highly charged in the shrine. Meanwhile, the long rope in the front of the altar serves to conduct ki down to and back up the person ringing the gong situated at the top. The small horizontal rope with white paper stripes in front of the sanctuary, reminiscent of the Torii gateways, symbols of thunder and lightning, traditional symbols of heaven's force. Another amazing book by Alex Jack. A Visit to the Land of the Gods. And he goes on and he talks about all the different stories. He's the director of the One Peaceful World Society at that point when he wrote this, and a macrobiotic teacher and counselor at the Kushi Institute. His books include The Cancer Prevention Diet with Michio Kushi, Aveline Kushi's Complete Guide to Macrobiotic Cooking, which I showed you, and Mozart's Effect. He lives in Beckett, Mass. With his family. And here's Alex, and you can see him tomorrow on our show, but this is him right there. So please join me to welcome him tomorrow. Okay, next, which book? He wrote many books with Ed Esco, another good friend, Forgotten Worlds, Guide to the Lost Civilization and the Coming One World. He wrote this amazing book with Sato. Sato is an amazing Aikido master out of Massachusetts, and it's one of the best dessert makers that I've ever met. Every recipe in this book tastes scrumptiously delicious. He wrote this book on home remedies, Michio Kushi. They're all little books, but I think I must have 50 of these books of all different types. This one gives you home remedies like a daikon hip bath, which the top of the daikon in Pakistan, there's a name for the daikon radish, the long white radish. It's prolific. And this could be saved for hip baths, the leaves of this. I pulled this out because the first couple I cooked for was a gay couple with AIDS. And this was probably 1990. I started cooking for others. Trying to think if it would have been that early, maybe 93. I cooked for others prior to that, but professionally I cooked and they paid me quite well. And they were just such an amazing couple. And Michio did the forefront work in AIDS. First it was AIDS, then it was MDR, multiple drug resistant pneumonia and tuberculosis, and most recently a flesh-eating microscopic form of streptococcus and the plague. With the viral of bacterial scourges will emerge as we enter. What viral or bacterial scourges will emerge as we enter the 21st century? This is written in, let's see what year this was. 1995. All right. 1995. And in his first words, it says, modern medicine admits that it is powerless to prevent these new scourges, but sensible dietary and lifestyle practices can boost your natural immunity and reduce your risk of dis-ease. In AIDS and Beyond, educator Michio Kushi explains why these microbial diseases are appearing and what you can do to protect your health and that of your family. In addition to the increasing resilience on artificial food and destruction of the natural environment, he discusses how to spread the spread of microwave and electric cooking, exposure to artificial electric and magnetic fields, overuse of antibiotics and medications, and other features of modern life have contributed to the tragic return of infectious diseases. So I'm giving tribute to Alex Jack, the writer and prolific. It's so good to see you, Ashok, on here. He wrote some novels which were really fun. He wrote one on George Osawa's encounter with Dr. Schweitzer in Africa, The Medicine Men, by Jack Harris. But this is really cool stuff. Dr. Schweitzer did a tremendous amount of writings, teachings, understandings of science. George Osawa went to try to prove him wrong, that science wasn't what we needed to teach. We needed to teach the understanding of unifying principle so people could get well. And he contracted a really difficult disease by drinking Coca-Cola. And Coca-Cola turned it into the bad disease, and he showed and proved to Schweitzer that it could be healed by understanding the unifying principle. So there are many stories in here that are magical and fun on these trips of George Osawa. And it goes on as kind of a storybook. George says something, and then it's an act one. It's a play. He comes to us as one unknown without a name. As of old by the lakeside, he came to those men who knew him not. He speaks to us the same word, follow thou me, and sets us to the tasks which he has to fulfill for our time. He commands, and to those who obey him, whether they may be wise or simple, he will reveal himself in the toils and conflicts and sufferings which they shall pass through in his fellowship. And as an ineffable mystery, they shall learn in their own experience who he is. And that was Albert Schweitzer on his book, The Quest for the Historical Jesus. So Schweitzer was tremendous, powerful writer, or a scientist. But George Osawa and he met. And then Alex gets into a real lot of fun ideas of Darwin's mystery. He wrote The Evolution at the Dinner Table, and he writes this book on Darwin's mysterious illness, Pasteur's food phobias, and Fanny Farmer's death by chocolate. So again, Charles Darwin, the father of modern evolution, was so chronically ill that he could not attend the famous meeting at which The Origin of Species was introduced. He feared that his own family was unfit and would die out. Louis Pasteur, the father of modern medicine, minutely inspected each particle of food he ate and refused to shake hands because of the morbid fear of germs. Fanny Farmer, mother of the standard American diet, wrote the 20th century's most influential cookbook. Nearly 1/3 of her recipes were for chocolate, sugary desserts, and other sweets. And these contributed to her paralysis, and premature death. Combining visual diagnosis, 9-star key, and the I Ching, Alex Jack continues in Evolution at the Dinner Table his epic study of the creators of modern mind and the role diet and health played in the development of modern science, medicine, and nutrition. Powerful book. Powerful book. I must have, I don't know how many in my shelf. I've got a lot of reading to do because I've never read book to book cover. But when he talks about all the people he's been part of, there's a big celebration this summer for my good friend Lino Stančić, a prolific writer, art teacher, and he's very honored. But at the Kushi Institute celebration this summer, there'll be a celebration for Lino, and I really hope to be there one way or another. Lino is a good friend with Jane, and we did spiritual seminars together with Alex. The spiritual seminars were some of the most profound understandings of the universal principles. It was like coming into a room, not knowing how the energy changed, but it would change and you'd become another whole being by the time you left. This tribute to Alex Jack is a small tribute, but for the work you've done, Alex, I just want to tell you, I am just so eternally grateful for all of the prolific writings you've done, all the prolific works you've done, and all the different relationships that you took time to be with and go deep with. And I'm one of them. And you were willing to stand beside me through so many trials. Your understanding of how to keep focused and develop research is so prolific. I just remember I would see the magazine come out, the One Peaceful World magazine. I would do all of the publicity for all the people that would pay for ads. And Alex would come out with this magazine, and I was just in shock because every single one had more research than you could ever imagine on all different things, all different aspects of life, all different witness of life. I mean, his understanding of humanity is so precious. Alex, I don't mean to call you and move away from you if you get to listen to this sometime, but I want to tell you that my tribute to you is sincerely from my heart. Sincerely grateful that you're coming on Eco Inspired Home Green Home. You've inspired me. You've encouraged me. You've blessed every piece of the puzzle within me in so many layers. And I am eternally grateful to you. Eternally grateful. And I thank you for your good work for society, for humanity, and for the dream of one peaceful world with Mitra and Aveline. We thank you so much for the grace that you've given, the amazing love that you've given to them and all of us. And may all of us give tribute back to you through our prayers, through our honoring, and we look forward to what you will say about COVID-19 tomorrow. So it's pretty cool day. It's the solstice weekend, and I couldn't kick it off with anybody more special than you. And for 2020, COVID-19, we kick off this weekend with a deep spiritual talk by my good friend, Alex Jack. And it will be quite a blessing. So I hope you join us. The next week is Alex Jack. One of the people that works closely with him is Bettina. And Bettina is an amazing woman that has tremendous knowledge. So next Saturday will be that. So we're kind of following this food kickoff because immunity with COVID and what's up right now is really key for your health. The cooking classes I need to get going on. And as I get my house back in order after my degree, I guess I will eternally be grateful for the next piece of my puzzle. We're going to read out of one of the seminar books because I think you'll enjoy it. I've read many times out of this. And I've got all my names and I've just got so many different things. And I'm hoping some other friends, but I guess I just want to tell you that when we start looking at all the different works and the life of Alex Jack, my life has been enriched because of him. And we'll read this one little couple of prayers. I'm going to do confessions because I think all of us need to be humble. And a lot of people don't want to look at their own internal confessions of their own life path. And it wasn't until Michio started doing this with us in the spiritual seminars to release. And they were really profound. So Zangemon, these are old ancient writings from Japan. It says, from the unknown time, I have made numerous mistakes. All of them have been caused by my greed, anger, and ignorance, and produced through my body, mind, and behavior. Now, before the infinite universe, I confess and release all of them, for I am one with the infinite, from the beginningless beginning to the endless end. I'll read it one more time. From the unknown time, I have made numerous mistakes. All of them have been caused by my greed, anger, and ignorance, and produced through my mind, my body, mind, and behavior. Now, before the infinite universe, I confess and release all of them, for I am one with the infinite universe, from the beginningless beginning to the endless end. Zangemon. And it's all written. It's called Ga Shaku Sho So Sho Aku Oko Jushin Go. I think it goes across. Kayu Mushi Tonjin Shi Jushin Go Ishi Sho Sho Isai Ga Kon Kai Zange. So for many years, I studied. So here's the next prayer that goes along with this. I confess that I am selfish. I confess to the infinite universe, I confess that I am selfish. To the infinite universe, I confess that I am arrogant. To the infinite universe, I confess that I am greedy. To the infinite universe, I confess that I feel hatred. To the infinite universe, I confess that I am fearful. To the infinite universe, I confess that I am a liar. To the infinite universe, I confess that I feel confused. To the infinite universe, I confess that I am attached and too proud. To the infinite universe, I release and dissolve my selfishness. And then we bow. To the infinite universe, I release and dissolve my arrogance. And I bow. To the infinite universe, I release and dissolve my greed. And I bow. To the infinite universe, I release and dissolve my hatred. And I bow. To the infinite universe, I release and dissolve my fear. And I bow. To the infinite universe, I release and dissolve my lying. And I bow. To the infinite universe, I release and dissolve my lying. And I bow. To the infinite universe, I release and dissolve my confusion. And I bow. To the infinite universe, I release and dissolve my attachment and pride. And I bow. To the infinite universe, I release and dissolve all of them, now and forever. 1984, December 17th, 1984, Michio Kushi. And he goes on and he says, I am grateful to my parents and ancestors. I am grateful for my spouse and my partner. I am grateful to my children and offspring. I am grateful for my brothers and sisters. I am grateful to my sisters, elders, and seniors. I am grateful to all people and all beings. I am grateful to the foods I am given. I am grateful to the nature which I am within. I am grateful to this universe in which I am manifested. I am grateful to all phenomena and all beings. I am grateful to my sickness. I am grateful to my ignorance. I am grateful to my enemy. I am grateful to my difficulties. I am grateful to my suffering. I am nothing, yet I have been given all. Therefore, I am rich and equal to the whole universe. I am endlessly grateful to my being. So I've done these before. There are many prayers in this book, and many of you have heard them. And I am just, as I move into the ideas around cooking, I want to say that one of the early founders of macrobiotics was our good friend Michael Potter, and he started Eden Food and all the natural foods. I thought I'd just show you a few. Emerald Cove This was packaged by Great Eastern Sun. It was imported by Great Eastern Sun. It's out of Nashville. But Great Eastern Sun is a very early founder. South River Miso, another early founder of really high quality foods. When you find amazing things like this on the market, organic rice nectar, we have to give thanks to Alex Jack, because without his books and his cooking books that he's published for Aveline and Michio, we wouldn't have all of these beautiful products. Suzanne is one of the greatest sweet friends. And when I was in trouble right after 9/11, we opened up our store. And in 2004, we closed down the store because it was a really difficult financial time. And by 2006, I had lost $85,000. And it was a really big challenge. But Suzanne called me and she said, "Don't worry, it's okay. I got your back." So you rise up and you fall down. You rise up and you fall down. This is the unifying principle. You rise up and you rise down, fall down. The sun comes up, the sun goes down. All of these amazing people in my life for so many years, 32 years doesn't seem that long when I look back, but it's been quite the journey of traveling along this idea of one peaceful world. And with our beautiful tribute to Alex Jack, I just want to say thank you, Alex, for every bit of my appreciation to you. Every bit of my amazing relationships, to all the time we've spent. The gift of one peaceful world in all of your writings in such a powerful way. They're not just writings, they're sacred documents to live a sacred life. And I honor you and I love you. And as a tribute to you, Alex, I pray for your health and well-being. I pray for your family. And I pray we walk this journey together many more years. Blessings and light. I'm so excited for your talk tomorrow on the eco-inspired green home. I hope you all join us tomorrow morning to listen to a really amazing human being. Thank you for listening to my tribute to my dear brother, the founder, Michio Kushi, and his dream, but the editor, Alex Jack. Without Alex, so much wouldn't have happened. So we give thanks and gratitude to the deep wonder and the deep grace that you've given to all of us in this beautiful, beautiful universe. And without you, it wouldn't have happened. Thank you. Thank you so much, Alex. We really look forward to your work. We really look forward to your love. Thank you, all of the viewers that came on. I hope you enjoyed the show. You're going to be so inspired in a way that is humble. Alex is a very humble teacher. If I could only aspire to his humility, is anything before I die, this is what maybe I want to do, is aspire to his prolific writing and teachings. And as I showed you, my desk is all ready to start writing. And I'm going to start writing my books. And we've got quite a few that I've started. One is the architecture of your soul. And I'm hoping Alex will be maybe my editor of helping me see if I can get it published and see if I can open to the possibilities of working with him as a writer. I will be eternally grateful. Thank you so much. Thank you, Linda Shaw Doss. Thank you so much, Ashok. Thank you, Percy. Thank you, Tafsir. Have a beautiful evening. Have a beautiful morning wherever you are. Peace and best. Eat well for your family. Chew well. Really get clear that you've got an amazing life and be grateful to that what's been given. Thank you. Arigato gozaimasu. I would say arigato gozaimasu.